Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's dive right in, because today we're taking a look at the female reproductive system. But we are definitely not going to treat this like just another dry, boring medical topic. Instead, based on our source material, we're going to reframe this whole incredibly complex system for what it really is: a miraculous, highly punctual chemical factory. It's a factory that operates tirelessly right inside the human body, following a strict schedule with just absolute mind-blowing precision. I want to kick things off with a pretty wild question. How exactly does a single microscopic cell transform into a fully formed 6-foot human being? It is just so easy for us to go about our busy daily lives and completely forget the incredible, practically invisible beginnings of human life. We grow up, we live our lives, and sometimes we completely forget the astonishing and really humble origins of our creation. So this explainer is going to take us all the way back to that very beginning, step by microscopic step. Section 1. The miracle of the egg, the body's largest cell. What's truly fascinating to start with is just the sheer scale of things at the cellular level. The female ovum, or the egg, is actually the largest single cell in the entire female body. And when you compare it to the male sperm, the egg is absolutely massive. In fact, the male sperm is 25 times smaller than the ovum. This really brilliantly illustrates the unique physical dominance of the female egg right at the starting line of human development. But okay, here's where we have to kind of shift our perspective for a second. Even though the ovum is the body's largest cell, it still sits right at the very edge of what human eyes can actually see. To help you visualize just how tiny it actually is, imagine gathering up 2 million of these egg cells. If you got 2 million together, they would easily fit onto the tip of your pinky finger, or, just a small button on your shirt. It really leaves you speechless when you stop and think about it. So the crucial question is, what is actually happening inside that incredibly tiny space? Well, this microscopic egg is essentially a perfect genetic vault. It flawlessly preserves ancestral traits, stuff from a mother, a grandmother, a grandfather, for up to 20 years. It just waits there, entirely intact, for the exact moment it can combine its 23 chromosomes with the 23 chromosomes of the male. It's literally how the legacy of an older generation is securely transmitted to the next. Moving on to Section 2, Age and Egg Quality, the timeline of the biological factory. As the years go by, the capability of these eggs changes pretty drastically. Between the ages of 10 and 15, the egg's ability to fully mature is actually quite weak. Then we hit what's considered the prime development phase, which happens during a woman's 20s and 30s. However, as a woman ages, the quality of the eggs does begin to decline. By age 42 and beyond, if a pregnancy occurs, there is a noticeably higher risk of the child having some sort of defect compared to a pregnancy at age 30 or younger. Though I should add, completely normal and healthy babies are still very common at this age too. But here's the catch. Even during those prime years in a woman's 20s and 30s, the process isn't totally flawless. About 80 to 90% of the time, things go great, but 10 to 20% of the mature eggs fail to properly align with the internal reproductive system. Due to various completely natural glitches, these eggs lose their ability to fully develop. When that happens, they're either safely reabsorbed into the body, or they result in a miscarriage. Let's look at Section 3, the chemical hormone factory, more than just eggs. The most famous product of this factory is undoubtedly estrogen, and it is nothing short of a chemical miracle. It's incredibly vital. Without estrogen, a woman's physical development would be severely stunted. She would essentially remain the size of a dwarf. Furthermore, she'd completely lack feminine physical characteristics and beauty, appearing much more masculine. The ovary produces several types of this essential hormone, just to ensure proper growth happens. Now get ready for a biological twist you probably didn't expect. The ovaries also produce testosterone. Yes, the exact same male hormone produced by male testicles. If a woman's body had too much of this, her voice would become deep and heavy, and she would start growing tough facial hair. But the ovary prevents this through an automatic internal system. It takes this male hormone and brilliantly converts it straight into the female hormone, estrogen. It's just a complete masterclass in chemical balancing. Section 4, the process of ovulation, the monthly manufacturing cycle. So how does this actually play out? Well, there are specific biological characters that trigger this event. In step 1, the pituitary gland sends out a signal called follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH, which literally awakens the sleeping eggs inside the ovary. For step 2, these eggs move up to the outer surface, each safely protected inside a little bubble of fluid.
In step 3, the pituitary gland sends a second signal, luteinizing hormone, or LH, causing the protective membrane of the bubble to burst. And finally, in step 4, just a single egg breaks free and begins its journey toward the next stage of creation.
Now, when that single egg finally bursts out, it actually leaves behind a physical crater on the surface of the ovary. To give you a sense of the scale here, the ovary itself is only about 1.25 inches across, but the crater left by that egg takes up almost a quarter of that entire space. It is a massive physical change happening on a very tiny organ. Section 5. Preparing for the guest, setting the biological stage. Thanks to a side effect of that LH hormone we mentioned a second ago, special fat-filled cells rush into the crater and fill it right up. They essentially transform the crater into a brand new temporary gland called the corpus luteum. And the second it's built, it starts producing a hormone called progesterone. Our source breaks this word down perfectly. Pro means before, and gestron relates to pregnancy. Literally, this hormone's entire job is to handle all the necessary preparations before a pregnancy actually occurs. So, progesterone enters the mother's bloodstream and goes right to work. First, it stops the muscles of the uterus from contracting, keeping everything nice and calm. Then, it commands the construction of an incredibly complex brand new blood network. This network is designed to provide the absolute highest quality, purest resources for the incoming guest. We're talking amino acids, proteins, vitamins, and oxygen. It even sets up an immediate waste removal system for toxins. On top of all that, it thickens the uterine walls to create a super comfortable, secure environment. And, astonishingly, this entire intricate stage is perfectly set before the egg even arrives. Section 6. Resetting the biological stage, when the guest doesn't arrive. But what happens if the egg arrives and hasn't been fertilized? Well, nature simply packs up the entire stage it just spent so much effort building. Within a matter of days, the corpus luteum gland is completely demolished. The massive complex blood network is dismantled, turning into blood that naturally exits the body as menstruation. The walls of the uterus return to their normal size, and the muscles begin their normal contractions again. The biological factory resets perfectly. You know what is truly astonishing to me is the relentless dedication of this system. All of these deeply complex, mysterious, and highly organized preparations are built up and then completely torn down every single month. It operates with absolute punctuality in a woman's life, repeating this exact cycle for decades, right up until around the age of 45 to 50. We've reached the end of this explainer, and I really want to leave you pondering this final question. Isn't it astounding how this invisible, complex factory operates flawlessly inside us every single month? We walk around every day carrying microscopic miracles that literally build life support systems, manage precise chemical conversions, and preserve our entire genetic history. I hope this look into the biological factory of the human ovary has left you with a profound sense of wonder about the hidden capabilities of the human body. Thank you for learning with me today, and keep asking questions about the incredible world inside of you.